Welcome to the channel. All right, or welcome back, I guess. This video is about how to keep your bank on your side. It's what you need to know about your lender and how they want to take your house back and sell it for a profit. Guess what? Banks are in business to make money, and they want to do that off of you. And with 2%, 3% interest rates like they have now, they're definitely not making money on your loan. In this video, we'll show you how to protect yourself so that you're not a target of your lender or your bank. Remember, this isn't financial advice. This is a YouTube channel. I know absolutely nothing about anything other than how to write stuff on a blackboard like this. Okay, go ahead and like this video here, subscribe right here, and we'll get into it. All right, the first slide, what you need to know is how to keep a lender from being your enemy. Okay, so here's the deal, people. When a bank issues you a loan, if you have a ton of equity in the house, so you could turn around and sell it for a $30,000, $50,000, or $100,000 profit, given that the real estate market has gone through the roof lately. The bank knows this. The bank has a list. They have auditors. They have lawyers. They have all of the loans that are in their portfolio. So with this list, they go through and they can estimate which ones are underwater, owe more on their mortgage than the house is worth, which ones are about even, and which ones have a lot of equity in the house. What does that mean? That means that if you have a ton of equity in your house, you're the target. They want to come for you. What they're hoping happens is you stop paying your mortgage. Either you miss payments, or you're missing your forbearance extension, or don't start payments again after your forbearance. We included forbearance in this chart because it's such a common issue nowadays. With the housing market having appreciated, and we'll go ahead and go over to a Fred chart, and we call this the Case-Shiller Housing Bubble Indicator. And here it is, your housing bubble indicator. There was a bubble there, 2008, 2009, 2010, and now look at prices. They're sky high. Yay, that's what we need, right? Well, here's the deal. If you go ahead and buy your house right here for, say, I don't know, $150,000, and it goes ahead and appreciates all the way up to, I don't know, $220,000, that's $70,000 in appreciation. That means that's almost half of what your total loan was when you bought the house. Or maybe it is. Maybe you put more than 20% down. I don't know. Point is, if that bank can sell your house that you bought for $150,000, so 20% down makes it a $120,000 loan, and now that house is worth $220,000, they stand to make close to $100,000 when they sell your house because you missed a payment. All right, I think you understand that. Get back to the slide. So here we are, and I'm not the only one talking about this. You can check out Jason Hartman and George Gammon. They both have great videos on this. This is just a little more in-depth than they go. So when you miss a payment and that bank knows that they can foreclose on your house and sell it for a profit, guess what happens? They come after you. You might try to negotiate new things, but they'll say, hey, no, we need $14,000 up front, like this gentleman we're going to look at shortly in a news article, and not allow you to go ahead and restructure your mortgage or do whatever is needed as far as more forbearance or whatever to keep you in that house, because they want it. They want their $100,000. That's more than they're making on the interest for the house. Yeah, and that's instant money in their pocket. That pays Jamie Dimon's bonus and all the other CEOs' bonuses at the banks. They get millions by doing this, and we'll show an example of that in a moment as well. So remember, these banks have teams of lawyers. They know the ins and outs. They have all day to make a $100,000 profit, to where you have to call in and fight with some call center to make any progress. They make it as hard as possible for you when you're the enemy. For some background on all of this, we'll go over to a news article. This is from the New York Times. It's an older article. It's from May of this year, 2020, which is, I don't know, 5 months ago or so. And what it's about, Goldman Sachs goes ahead and forecloses on 10,000 homes for consumer relief. They make it sound great. They have great PR people too, in addition to all their lawyers and call centers. What happened? It says right here, the federal settlement over the 2008 financial crisis required the bank to offer homeowners $1.8 billion in relief. In the process, it became a big buyer of distressed mortgages. So what did Goldman Sachs do? Goldman Sachs said, hey, there's all these distressed mortgages over here. We can buy them and attempt to restructure them. The government will like that. They'll love our settlement, and we'll go ahead and contribute that $1.8 billion to buying those distressed mortgages. Well, that's great, but there's always unintended consequences to federal action. You see, banks know that if they buy a foreclosed property that's underwater, they're not going to make any money. They also know that if there's a ton of equity in that property, they'll be able to sell it and make bank. That's why they call them banks. So scrolling down in the article here, Matthew Goldstein did a great job. He said, while Goldman has reworked loans to make it possible for thousands of homeowners to avoid foreclosure, it has also taken back more than 10,000 homes. That means they went ahead and foreclosed on the 30,000 they bought with this money. The 30,000 is listed further up in this article. And now they have 10,000 homes that they've foreclosed on, taken possession of, and most likely are full of equity. So they went ahead and spent $1.8 billion buying these, restructured it for 20,000 people to keep paying them. So they're going to get their money back for those loans just on interest, right? Well, they repossessed another 10,000 homes. They get to go ahead and sell those and make money off of them. So yeah, unintended consequence there. And then this gentleman, George Daly, who had his home repossessed was going to be repossessed, he said they're profiting off of this. Yeah, so they spent $1.8 billion on all this as part of their federal settlement for the garbage they pulled back in 2008. And then went ahead and made a ton of money off of the settlement. It's stupid. It's crazy. This is what they do, and this is how they become predatory on you, the borrower. So then it comes to the question, how do you make them your friend? Well, it has to do with this equity thing we talk about. That's if your house is worth like, I don't know, $200,000 because the market dropped, and you owe $220,000 on it. That makes it underwater. All right, next slide so we can tell you how to keep the bank as your friend. So Jason Hartman, George Gammon, all of them recommend a thing called Refi till you die. That means refinance your house as often as you can pull a decent amount of equity out of it in cash. So right now, for instance, I got a quote on a cash out refi on probably my least valuable property, but whatever. So anyway, I'm pulling the equity out of that property, cash out refi, lowering the rate, all of that fun stuff. And now the bank is going to be my brand new friend. I love friends, don't you? Yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Become my YouTube friend by clicking that little thing right there. And we can see more of these videos. But anyway, so if you maintain no equity in the house or negative equity to where you owe more on the house than it's worth, like let's say in a housing crash, then guess what happens when you miss payments? Guess what happens when you miss forbearance extensions? You forget to call the bank or whatever, and your forbearance is now gone. This is what happens. I'll tell you. When you call that bank and say, hey, I need to restructure this mortgage, they have this whole list of houses there, and they take a look at it. And they're like, oh, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, we would love to help you out. Here, let me give you the direct line so you can meet customer service and not wait on the phone for people. You'll be able to call us and get a hold of us within 5 minutes, 24/7. That's great. We love you. You're our favorite homeowner. We want to help you out. Why are they so nice, you might ask? Well, if they weren't nice and you continued to miss your payments and they have to foreclose on your house and they went to sell it, they're going to lose money on it. They're going to lose a ton of money. They don't want to lose money. Banks like to make money, remember? So if you maintain no equity in your house, they will go to the ends of the earth for you. They will be the nicest people you have ever met. They will be your new best friend. And then, there's stories out there of people during the great financial crisis, the foreclosure crisis of 2008, 2009, who literally lived in their homes for years without making their mortgage payments and never got foreclosed on. The main reason being the homes were underwater and the bank knew they wouldn't make any money if they went to foreclose and then sell the property. They would in fact lose more money because then they have to pay a realtor. There are people that definitely took advantage of this as a internal bank policy form of forbearance, where they just didn't have to make their mortgage payment because the bank just literally didn't want their house because they owed way more than it was worth. Yeah, and anyway, what the banks are waiting for there is for the property market to appreciate, and then you better believe as soon as that house is the same value as the amount owed on it or higher value, they are sending you a nice letter immediately foreclosing on your house or beginning the foreclosure process. So there you go. If you want to keep the lender or your bank as your friend, make sure that you have no equity in your house. Now, keep in mind, this is not financial advice if you're owner-occupied and not a real estate investor. You might want to talk to your mortgage broker, realtor, and investment advisor about all this because I am just a YouTuber. Like I said, this is not financial or investment advice. So there you go. Refi till you die. That's what Jason Hartman and George Gammon mean. I think they've written a ton about that, and it definitely works. There's stories out there of predatory lenders in 2008, 2009, 2010, and so forth. As soon as somebody missed a payment, boom, foreclosure coming your way, buddy. And then there's stories the other way around. The house was underwater and the bank, just like I said before, the other guy lived there 3 years without making a payment and the bank didn't care. It was fine. They didn't even start a foreclosure process on the house. I don't even think it affected his credit other than late payments. I don't know. It's been a while since I read that article. So how do you do this? I went ahead and, like I said, put in for a cash out refi in one of my houses. So if you have a house, if you have multiple houses, what you can do is just consider, you don't necessarily need to pay for an appraisal. You should really know if that house has gone up in value, especially right now with as hot as the market is, like everything has appreciated. So if you stay leveraged and there is a housing crash in the future, we'll go ahead and put up a video here of what could cause the next housing crash. Check that one out. This one's about over anyway. And stay leveraged. So you, by that I mean you cash out refi, you refinance the house out as far as you can, as long as you can, as cheap as you can, pull as much cash out of the house, and these banks will absolutely love you. They will call you, they will send you flowers, they'll probably send you a case of beer on your birthday. All right, we're gonna jump over to the last slide. So that's how you keep the banks on your side. If you stay leveraged to where they can't sell your property, then you won't fall into the trap where if you miss a payment, if your payment is 1 day late, they call you up and foreclose on you or begin a foreclosure process. This happens. This has happened and it will happen again. You watch over the next year. If there is a housing crash, this will happen. There will be banks foreclosing on people as quickly as they can to get the house in their possession and sell it to make that increased profit. I mean, think about it. Last point is if that bank can make 10 grand on your interest over the next couple years, or they can make $100,000 right now by selling your house to somebody and probably providing them a new loan on it that they could foreclose on as well in the future. They're going to go ahead and do that. They need their bonuses. That's what they're here for. They love bonuses. They love raking in all the cash, and they love issuing new loans. So yeah, there you go. Go ahead and there's another video going to be right up here. There's going to be a subscribe thing right here, and definitely leave a comment below if you have any other things you'd like me to talk about. and any other issues or experiences that you've actually had with this. All right, hey, y'all, take her easy out there and don't get foreclosed on.